Thousands of citizens and first responders who were directly affected by Hurricane Harvey will more than likely suffer from post-traumatic stress.
Almost everybody recovers.
Dr. Sam Buser, a staff psychologist with the Houston Fire Department, says it's part of an anxiety disorder after a traumatic event.
We used to think of post-traumatic stress as an anxiety disorder, so people got very anxious after an event like that. But we really understand it now as really more complex than that. So it affects things like anxiety, increases anxiety, but it also affects the way we think, the way we behave, the way we interact with other people. It's more broad than just simply anxiety. And we know that after a major event, a traumatic event, a significant number of people will develop signs of post-traumatic stress.
The aftermath of Hurricane Harvey left entire interstates and roads completely underwater. Homes were destroyed and damaged, and people were rescued by trucks and boats as they clung to their houses and even rooftops.
Can I get a blanket?
Later, they were taken to the George R. Brown Convention Center to get food, dry clothes, and a shelter. In the meantime, police, fire, and paramedics continued to work tirelessly around the clock, searching for more victims.
When they're in the mode of really helping somebody, they're saving somebody, they're in their element and they feel great. Later on, it may hit them in some other kind of ways. Yes, they saved this one, but they weren't able to save that one. So you can have sort of rescuer guilt. We think of survivor guilt, but you can also have rescuer guilt. I had to make very difficult decisions. I didn't have enough equipment. Things didn't work the way they were supposed to. People were supposed to help me in ways that they didn't help me. I didn't have enough support of whatever form it was. And then on top of that, a lot of our first responders themselves had major losses. They lost their house, they lost their car, they lost property. So many of them were working in the storm to help our citizens. And when they finally got to go home, they found a disastrous situation.
For many, post-traumatic stress makes people's minds go through 3 different phases when dealing with a crisis.
I think particularly when you talk about a disaster, I like the idea that you first have the heroic phase. When we're all in dealing with the crisis at hand, everybody is trying to do the right thing, and they're literally doing heroic things. They're rescuing people, they're calling on their neighbors, they're working to save their own house, they're doing all those kind of things, you really are in the heroic mode. And with first responders, they're definitely in the heroic mode. That's their job, and they're at their best at that moment. The rest of us, we may go above and beyond. That's not our normal role, but we're helping our neighbor, the folks that came in on the boats that volunteered to help. People were wanting to do everything they can to help. Then after that sort of initial phase, when the sort of immediate crisis passed, oh, thank goodness the floods passed. And you hear this when people are interviewed. They'll say, well, I'm so thankful I still have my children, my family, we got out. That's the things that count, right?
The second one is called the honeymoon phase.
Well, later on, maybe not quite so much that way. It's the enormity of loss really starts to hit people. But after that, there is that sort of honeymoon phase. Well, we're going to rebuild. We're going to rip out the old stuff. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. That tends to happen after crisis has passed, but pretty soon on its heels, there's that belief that we're going to get back to where we were before. And of course, that's a very healthy thing.
The third phase is called disillusionment. That's when you start to think about FEMA and home insurance.
Later on, there's a phase called disillusionment. I didn't get the FEMA money I thought I was going to get. The insurance has given me a hassle. I didn't get as much money as I thought I needed. I had more damage than I first considered. I'm not sure I should even rebuild. So that disillusionment starts after, we've been back in the house or back in the situation and we're trying to figure out what to do next, and people often become disillusioned.
Because of post-traumatic stress, many people will experience anxiety all over again over a simple rainstorm. Dr. Sam Buser recommends to only concern yourself with what you can control and forget about what you cannot. Always have a kit. Make a plan with your family and be prepared. Mariano Yanguren, HTV.